Hey,
How's it going?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. So I just got to adjust this. I'm not usually on Instagram Live. There we go.
Okay. So I feel very, very special then. I've got you on Instagram Live.
Doesn't happen very often.
Well, you know what? I got you an hour earlier, which I'm so sorry. The time zones in the world needs to
I
end.
know.
I need to campaign for them to end.
We need to do away with daylight saving time. Give us as much
Right,
daylight after work days that we can have.
right, exactly. I think Eunice has joined us actually in the chat. Going to invite her up on stage. But yeah, good to see you. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thanks
Uh,
for having us.
I'm excited to talk to you guys. I've been doing some deep diving into the Instagram, just a bit of a stalker sometimes. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about. But I guess I'll do a bit of an intro.
Hi,
Oh,
See
there we
you.
go. There we go.
can you hear me?
Yes, loud and
Okay,
clear.
amazing.
Vision is clear. I have you guys good quality. I'm happy. I'm happy. Good to go. Oh, I said that, and now everyone's no. I literally said that, and then you started to blur a little bit.
Oh
um,
no.
but I
You
think
can't
I have
jinx it.
good. Yeah, you know what? Instagram, ignore me completely. So I'm going to give a quick intro to our audience about what this show is about, and then I'm going to ask you to introduce your audience, introduce yourselves to the audience that is watching today. So my name's Axel. I am a singer-songwriter here in London. I'm a new singer-songwriter, so I only started last year exploring writing music, singing for the first time, you know, doing things outside my comfort zone. So I started this series to learn a bit more about music, an industry that I knew nothing about. I actually have a science background, a PhD in chemistry, very random. But I wanted to do something creative. I think the lockdown motivated me to do that. So that's why I set up the show. And then this year, I wanted to talk to other musicians from across the world, like yourselves, to understand what it means to put more material out, have longevity in the game, which is a hard question to answer. But I
One
know
of the
you guys have
hardest.
been doing music for a while, and I'm really excited to dive deep into your careers in music. So I'm going to hand it over to Stephen first. Maybe introduce yourself, how long you've been doing music, and then we can move on.
Sure, yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate being on the show. Excited to talk about music and releases and everything. I'm Stephen James Orr. I've only been releasing music under my own name for the past few years, but I've been playing music for a very long time since I was a teenager. And just absolutely love creating music, playing music, listening to music. It's just something that's always run through me. So I've I live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and it's just there's such a good music hub here, and just met lots of great people. So just have been collaborating with lots of people, and the newest releases I've been putting out, I've been doing most of the instrumentation, writing and arranging and producing, and then featuring different vocalists, which is how we lead to Uni being part of this, who is an amazing singer-songwriter herself, and she collaborated on the track "Someone Real" that came out last month, and so she is an awesome musician in her own right as well. And I was lucky enough to get her to put some vocals and write lyrics to the song. So I'll pass it to Uni.
Yeah, so I'm a Malaysian Canadian singer-songwriter, a neo soul singer-songwriter, and I came back to Toronto a couple of years ago to pursue music. And yeah, like my current projects kind of incorporate both Southeast Asian sounds with neo soul music, and so that's definitely something that you don't really see that often. But yeah, like I really enjoy working with other people, and so Stephen actually was one of the first people that I've actually collaborated with in Toronto, as in like writing a full song together. And so it was super exciting because I'm a songwriter that just kind of like sits at home and does everything myself. And so it was so great to be able to step outside of my comfort zone and be able to vibe off of somebody else's music as well. So yeah, thank you, Stephen, for trusting me with this project.
Oh my God, it turned out beautifully.
It did. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit obsessed with it. It's a
Oh,
great
good.
track. We'll dive into that a little bit deeper. But there's something in the Canadian waters because I'm meeting so many fantastic musicians in Canada. How has the music scene maybe evolved from when you first started? I know you said you kind of left and came back. Have you seen a difference in the music industry there and compared to maybe somewhere else as well?
I think that one of the major reasons I moved to Toronto is just because there's so much of everything, like anything you're looking for, you're gonna find it here. And so, yeah, like it's just the fact that the music industry is so much more open and there's just so much more opportunities. And you can just go out to any open mic or like me, I did one of Stephen's shows, like he curated an online show, and that's how we met. Like we wrote the song without actually having met each other in real life, even though we live in the same city.
That's incredible.
So
Blame it on
yeah,
COVID.
yes, it was during the pandemic though. So
Yeah.
yeah, we had like a fully online relationship before we made it official.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, I think that there's just so much room like to grow and so much opportunities to be able to work with other people in Toronto. So I think that's something that I really appreciate about Toronto, as
Yeah.
opposed to like Malaysia and Singapore where I grew up. It's not that there isn't a music scene, but I think that it's just much smaller.
Right. I mean, you mentioned live music. I know, Stephen, you've done, your rooftop sessions. I think they're
Yeah.
called review. I think rooftop review sessions. So you did a lot of live music anyway. Scrolling through your Instagram, have you seen? A bigger drive now that lockdown. I want to say for most people, the pandemic is kind of coming to an end and things are opening up now. Have you got any plans for it? Have you seen a lot more interest in live music?
I just played a show. I just played a show last week, and I can't even begin to describe the feeling of seeing people dancing to original music in front of you, where it's standing room and people aren't seated. And it's just like, that's what I feel like you play music for and you write music for, is when you play a show and the audience is interacting with it and dancing and having a great time. And it was just like, it just reminds you of all the reasons you make and you play music and you're part of the music scene. So that was absolutely unbelievable. And lots of shows coming up in Toronto. I mean, Toronto's kind of exploding with stuff happening right now. So in talks with a bunch of different venues. Rooftop Review is going to happen again starting in May through to October probably. So definitely going to book Uni for one of those. And a bunch of other artists. There's just so many great artists in Toronto to pull from and surrounding area. And like even we had some touring artists that were coming through last year, one from Brooklyn and one from Victoria, BC, that played on the patio. So it's really good for intimate shows up there. And then in terms of big shows, I have something hopefully coming through in Toronto at the El Macombo in August, in Gladstone in May. And then the rest of it will fill in. I play in a live karaoke band as well. So I do that almost weekly now, where you come up to sing karaoke and you have a full band backing you. And we have about 200 songs we play. It's called Good Enough Live Karaoke. And that's always a blast because people just have fun being a rock star and fronting a full band for a song or two. And yeah, the vibe is just, it's really exciting in Toronto right now because lots of stuff is happening. Uni and I got to actually perform Someone Real live last year in between the like fourth and fifth lockdown or whatever we were on. We performed at Lee's Palace, which is a historic Toronto venue. Got to open for my buddy Josh Ritchie, who's an awesome singer-songwriter, very like bluesy soul pop kind of stuff. And we opened for his album. Got to actually, for all a show where all the different that had actually played the instruments on the recording, if I'd hit them up to do any of them, and the different singers all came out and were available that night. So got to actually reproduce all the songs live with almost all the same people that were involved, which was beautiful. The only thing that would have made it better was if there was standing room because everyone was seated.
Right,
So,
right.
which is always really weird in like a historic dive bar when you look around and you're like, I don't think anyone has ever sat in this venue before.
No, that's really cool. I mean, it's always really exciting to connect with, you know, that's partly why we do music, right? Some of it is to feel connected to our audience and really relate to certain topics, and part of that is performance. I know Uni, you did a lot of, you've been quite active on your YouTube channel, you've done quite a few covers, and that's been a way to also, sorry, side note, the Crazy Loop cover, I'm again a little bit obsessed. I've been playing that quite a few
Oh,
times
good.
today.
That's a
Is that
classic.
with
That's
the
definitely
four
a classic
E's?
song. Yeah, I think there's I can't even remember how many.
It's firstly, it's
But too
very,
many, too many
it's
unis
no,
probably.
never too many, never too many. It's really well filmed, and also I guess gives you a chance to really stay connected with some of your audience. How
Yeah.
important is that for you, and how has the YouTube space been with compared to Instagram, compared to some of the other social networks for you?
Right. That's actually kind of a hard question because I'm still trying to figure it out myself. I think that, like with all of these social media platforms, things are always evolving. And with the way that the music industry is going, I feel like it's super important to be able to stay connected with people on basically every platform.
All 20 of them.
And so, yeah, exactly, exactly. But I mean, what has been really interesting, maybe not only for YouTube, but just in general, is just being able to make like meaningful connections, on the socials. And so I look at like all of my videos as a way to kind of create some sort of conversation with my audience or whoever's stopping by. And if they resonate with what's there, if they resonate with my energy, then
Amazing.
that's just kind of like a springboard to have like a real conversation. Because I think that social media, like, sometimes it can get into that space where it feels really narcissistic.
Right.
And so I'm trying to at least create something that is more like a community and where people can feel like they're part of the journey. So
Yeah.
yeah, like
No, that's really
it's
cool. It's a
it's been
difficult
a
job. I think people forget that we do wear lots of hats as artists, right? It's trying to learn socials. It's trying to learn how to put music out, how to connect to your audience, and really convey certain
yeah,
messages. And I noticed also one of your latest releases, the Smoke and Mirrors. It's about media and social consciousness. So it is important, I guess, for you to really be part of that conversation and seeing how important it is for you to be part of that social consciousness, right? So
right, yeah.
when you are writing those kind of really powerful themes in your music, has that been, and I guess it's a question for both of you, when you are writing, how much do you put your audience in your mind when you are writing? Is that something that naturally comes to you, or do you come from a personal space before it means anything to anyone else?
Hmm.
I think
It's a
I
hard
do.
question,
I
right?
do a lot of
Me
the
or
music.
Stephen
Uh,
first.
I
I don't know,
guess I
just
guess we can start with Stephen, like how, because you also are a producer, and I think that's another element of trying to. I mean, you both do production, but you're primarily a producer. How have you kind of connected that songwriting with that side of you?
I guess that's interesting because I don't know if I always think of it that way because I feel like songs usually start out as a personal journey where a riff comes to you or something comes to you musically that you just put down uh, onto record, like you start recording it and then things spiral and you have a song. And I feel like I don't know if I ever think about the when it's not the lyrics, like the social aspects of what I mean. I take inspiration from what's going on and what music that I listen to. I'm sort of bad sometimes. I feel like I'm one of those people that probably doesn't, it doesn't happen that often where I listen to like the lyrics last somehow, where they are the last thing to like come forward to me. It's usually like the music and the melody and stuff.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate really good lyrics, and Uni is amazing at writing things that sound incredible but also have meaning behind them, which is very hard to do because as you listen to pop music, there can be a lot of throwaway lyrics or I don't know. It's nice to have that mixed together. So maybe Uni can talk a bit more about that when it comes to her songwriting.
Yeah. I think I generally talk from a like personal space first. Like I usually get inspired by things that are happening, and if it's something I can't stop thinking about, then I write a song about it. And yeah, but I am pretty like focused on lyrics and kind of like bringing across like a message that will actually make people think, because I think that music is so powerful, you know, that you know, why not put that little extra spice in and see if you can move a conversation forward.
Mm.
And so yeah, like I usually write from a personal space, but I do see it as a way for like other people to like I kind of do it as a service. I don't know if you could call it that too.
I get that. I get
You
that.
know?
And also
You
sometimes when
know?
you're writing music, it turns into the meaning suddenly turns into something else that could be
Yeah,
powerful in itself, you know.
right.
Um, so I think that's fair. I'm the same, I guess, as Stephen. Like I hear melodies first before I really like hear anything else. My
Hmm.
debut song was about stepping outside your comfort zone. It was all about my personal journey of, okay, I'm going to try something new. I'm kind of afraid of it, but I need to kind of hold two fingers up at, you know, the world and it, or even my own self-doubt. But when I recorded the music at the time, there was a lot of movements happening across the world. You know, we had the Black Lives Matter movement, and there was certain things happening in my country or origin as well. So then it became something slightly different. Then it was like, actually, it's about saying that to the world and whatever that means for you. But the messaging became completely different. So have you had an experience like that? Maybe with the single that you wrote, Smoke and Mirrors, was that sort of concept, or you were consciously in that space of I need to talk about the media and that sort of thing?
It's something I think that I've been thinking a lot about, you know, especially how we were talking earlier about the fact that I'm on all of these platforms and just seeing how things are evolving and wondering how I can use these platforms for something good instead of
Mhm.
something that's just, you know, a distraction, I guess. And so it started from that place, but then with the things that have been evolving, like in the world, like you know, especially with what's been happening in Ukraine, and yeah, like it definitely I think took on a stronger message because like people could relate to it more, and it was topical, you know. And even though I wrote the song before any of these things happened, uh, it just so happened that when I
Right.
released it, it really resonated with a lot of people. And it is exactly the message that I wanted to put out. It's just, I guess, because it's a message that's always relevant. So no matter what situations happen around it, people will always be able to see the truth in that. And so I think that that's the type of music that I try to like aim to create is something that will always be relevant, something that will always make people think and or remind them of something that has happened before
Yeah.
and the conversations they need to have. So yeah, I did not plan for it to happen like that, but it just all
Amazing.
coincided.
Well, you know what? That's how the universe works sometimes, right? Things just fall into place at the right time. So, yeah, no, that's amazing to
Yeah.
listen to. Um, I guess, Stephen, you've done a lot of collaborations, you know, across the year. That's kind of your thing, I would say. As a producer, you're always kind of working with different people. You had Ceramic that you released earlier within you as well. Guys, do check that out. How has it been collaborating with so many different artists? Have you had a certain method of how you collaborate, or has that changed from person to person?
It definitely changes from person to person, but I've learned a lot along the way as well, just in terms of maybe process versus any sort of technique. But I think the way that that I've been doing it has been working pretty well because, you know, I get a song to a point where I've arranged it and produced it to a certain level and it's ready to be, you know, shared with a singer or another instrumentalist. But the pieces aren't exactly like locked down because I feel like it's helpful to come to someone with a fully formed idea that's been recorded in a way that they can see it from beginning to end. And if there's any changes, like a few people, someone has said, you know, I'd like to write a bridge to this song. Can we add an extra part? And I put an extra part in. Or if they, you know, if I recorded the drums or something and we want to get a real, like, I'm decent on drums, but, you know, to get a real drummer in there to re-record them, which
Right.
brings it to another level, especially if it's more of a rock song. Like Losing Time was one example of that, where just wanted to add a bit more dynamics and depth to the song on drums. So added Maury, who usually plays with lights. He's an amazing drummer, and he just what he played really, brought the song, gave it those crescendos that it needed. So I'm finding that coming to them with a fully formed idea, but one that also is malleable, so that we can really make it a song together versus just featuring them. I like for people to feel everyone has their own thing, because some people prefer just to record some vocals and step back, and some people like to be a participating part in making it the best possible output. So it's been really fun. It's been fun learning and fun writing with everyone, and new collaborations on the way as well.
Oh, okay, that's super exciting. But let's talk about Someone Real. That's what your collaboration together. How did that come about lyrically? I guess how was the songwriting process between you guys, and how did you get the recording done? I know you kind of did that separately, virtually even. And yeah, talk to us about that experience. I guess we can start with Uni, I guess.
Yeah, sure. So I played one of Stephen's curated shows online, and that's how we kind of first met. And then he sent me a couple of tracks to see if I would be inspired to write something to it. And so yeah, like I really appreciate that when they have kind of like a fully formed idea, because it's so much easier to be able to yeah, like come up with something. And so I at that time, it was like during the pandemic, and I was thinking about uh the idea that it was really difficult to um like when you're living in a city, in a big city, it's really hard to create meaningful connections. And yeah, like you always feel like you're in a big crowd, like there's so many people, but you're never really seen. And so that's the inspiration for the song. So yeah, I put a bunch of lyrics to it, and put like 50 harmonies and I sent it over to Steven, hoping that he'll be okay with too many unis again.
I think that's my favorite part, is when you open a song, if someone sends you an idea back and you get to hear it with what you've written, it's just like, I feel like it's you're like, whoa, I can't, because you never know where something's going to be taken or what someone writes to it. And for other songs, they've taken on different contexts, where I've written something, the vibe to be one way, and then when I've received vocals back, I've been like, oh my gosh, this is completely different than what I thought, but it is also amazing. And in this specific case, just had no idea what Uni was going to send back, and I absolutely loved. I remember I played it for myself and my girlfriend Jacqueline and her friend, and just like we were like, whoa, like that. It just brings the song to a whole nother level of something that was just a cool song idea before, and just the instrumentals. So
Yeah,
it was incredible to hear the idea over top of it.
yeah. No, I was just going to say, I guess that's like the power of collaboration, right? You're going to kind of bring your own flavor to a concept that you kind of thought about in your head, envisioned on how that sounds, and you guys have produced a great track. I definitely caught my attention again, and I think it's something everyone should go check out. So if you are watching this on YouTube, please do go check out Someone Real. It's unreal. It's a great track. You also filmed a music video for this. How was that process, and why do you think people now are really emphasizing that visual element to their music? I mean, it's just another hat that we have to wear, so it feels a lot more pressure. But how did the music video come about, Uni?
Yeah, so the music video, like we looked at a couple of like we looked at other people's music videos to get inspiration and stuff. And I remember, I think it was a Turnstile one, was it?
Yeah, that was the one I
Stephen?
sent. Turnstile put out
Yeah,
a
that was the
cool
one that.
Nice.
visually appealing music video for like 4 of their songs
Hmm.
together.
Yeah, and yeah, so there was, I think, a couple of clips where it was like this panning motion that looked like it was going from one room to the other, and that was kind of what sparked the inspiration for us. Um, yeah, it's again like bringing together that idea that we're all kind of like in the same space, but never really interacting. And so, like the video is basically like panning from one room to the next, where each person is just in their own room, separate, doing their own things. And then only at the very end do they come together and actually, have some sort of meaningful connection. But yeah, that was the inspiration for the video, and that is kind of like the meaning behind it to come full circle with the meaning of that song.
Yeah. Stephen, is
Yeah.
that something you kind of envision when sometimes I'm a visual kind of listener as well. I kind of have colors and themes that run through my head when I'm writing or doing anything like that. When you recorded the song and kind of heard it back, did you envision those visuals as well? I think it's very smartly done as well. I like that the covers at the start. That was really smart. I was like, I like that. But is that what you kind of envisioned yourself when you produced it?
It was just like a nice collaboration of ideas. Like I love brainstorming and coming up with 1,000 ideas, even no matter how silly they are. And then, kind of seeing like what's possible, what we can do, what makes sense. Music videos are funny because things move so fast. So you're just like, you don't have that much time to film, even though it might be like 3 minutes. It's like every shot is small in there. So I think it was really just a great collaboration between Uni and I. We met a few times and just chatted about like what music videos we like, what inspiration. I brought that Turnstile video, and I was thinking, I used to love the Much Music Countdown growing up and watching it, which is like a Canadian, I guess, MTV for Much Music and all the music videos. And there's a Canadian band called Moist, which I know is a weird band name, but they have a video as well where I love that like when you pan between rooms and you see like just different things happening in different rooms. And I've always liked that idea. And Uni being so good with video and thinking of how things could actually work and turning ideas into shots and like a fully formed like here's what we're gonna film, and here's the idea of what it's gonna look like. So I think it was just a nice
Lucky.
collaboration.
I'm just lucky that Steven says yes to all of my ideas.
Well, that's
It's
why this
like
is the perfect
that's the
collaboration.
beauty of it.
So you don't want to work, you have to work with the producer that just says yes to everything, right? So you can get all your creative ideas
Right,
out there.
exactly.
No,
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest part of collaboration. I think that is why I talk to a lot of people about collaborations, but not all of them, are actually finished. Not all of them actually get done, because it's hard sometimes because you're working with like a different person with their own ideas, and so it's nice when you're able to find somebody that actually vibes with you on the same
yes.
level. And yeah, and not just musically, but he's also an awesome person, so and
Aw.
that's a huge thing for me, like as an artist. Like I really pick up on people's vibes, and so I need to trust a person before I can write anything with them. And so
Right.
Stephen, like right off the bat, like I already knew that he was outstanding.
That's so
Well, I
nice.
think I was just going to say the proof is in the pudding, right? Because you kind of do, if you collaborate with someone and not kind of mesh with them, a lot of your efforts aren't at the best it can be, whether that's songwriting, vocal performance, production, or whatever that is. I do think that's super important. I've had many experiences where it was just the vibe of a producer, for example, that it just didn't connect with me. And then I feel nervous about everything and I'm not
Yeah,
delivering the way I should. So I think that's amazing. Are we going to get more future collaborations between you two? I mean,
I
if it
hope so.
works.
Definitely.
I hope so.
There was a second
It'll
song
be,
that Uni did tag as a maybe that was
yes,
also an idea. So if
yeah,
when she's not busy,
definitely.
she has so many releases coming out now. So maybe that's like a fall project or something.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Or maybe we'll start our like metal project together.
Oh yes, yeah, that'll
Amazing, amazing. Well, speaking of future releases, what can we expect from you both? I mean, the music is coming out fast and quick, which we love. But any major projects, any EPs, any albums, any major collaborations? I guess we'll start with Stephen.
Sure, yeah. I'm actually I mean, everything kind of as a musician. Sometimes you're waiting on grants, you're waiting on other things, but I'll be hopefully releasing an album at the end of this year. I wanted to use a lot of the songs I've released. I have a few extra ones that have vocal collaborations and weave an album together that has different instrumentals, like short instrumental breaks. If you take, say, like Mark Ronson, for example, or something, where some of his albums, where he's got a few cool instrumental tracks that kind of weave everything together to create one cohesive album. So I'm looking to release that at the end of the year. And in between, I've got a project called Neon Pony that's like a blues rock, almost like Black Keys meets Fleetwood Mac style vibe. And I'm looking to release an EP probably also sometime near the end of the year, record it in June or July. And then also just keep doing collaborations, maybe release one or two others as a single.
Amazing, amazing. Those are some good examples that you gave. I was like, oh, I'm intrigued. So that's exciting. Can't wait for that. Uni, how about yourself? What have you been working on?
So I've been working on an EP, and that will be dropping in the summertime. So yeah, I'm excited for that because it has some collaborations specifically with like an indigenous group in the rainforest. And so I'm really excited to be able to release that. And yeah, so I'm kind of just getting everything together for that, and also a couple of live shows planned as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Any visuals from you both? I mean, because that sounds like there could be a visual project that could come through, but any visuals that you guys are planning? Any music videos that we should be expecting?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
It seems like every release needs to have like 10 different types of videos to go with it.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of work. So I hope anyone who's watching back, you know, do go and support Stephen and Eunice's music. You can find it on Spotify. I'll put all the links in the description also. It's super important because I think artists put a lot of effort to produce something that we can kind of revisit and relive again and again. But you know, it's a lot of energy that gets put into those projects. So it's honestly wonderful to talk to you both. I'm so happy that we've connected online. Hopefully, if you're ever down in London, if you're ever down in the UK, we can connect in real life, or if I come back up to Toronto. It's amazing to talk to you guys and learn about your journey. Any final messages, anything that we can watch out for, and maybe your social handles as well?
Sure.
Stephen. Sorry, I keep forgetting there's two people. I'm like, oh.
I'm at Stephen James Orr on Instagram, on Spotify, or any of the streaming services. Definitely reach out to me about anything. Listen to some music. Would love to connect with you if you have some collaboration ideas as well.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I'm Eunice Keitan on everything. I'm probably on most of the social platforms. So yeah, find me on all the things.
all the things.
Yes, on all the things. And thank you.
Well,
thank you for...
I think my favorite thing that I saw today was I was looking on your Instagram, and you had a post today that was about if you put money towards a new album or something you were doing, that you could play maracas on stage as part of your performance.
Yes.
And I was so ready to play. I was like, I can be in London at that time. I'm buying this package.
So basically, I mean, now that I'm going to have to plug it now that you mentioned it. So I've been raising money for War Child UK. I did a live stream a couple of days ago. War Child do some amazing things with children in Afghanistan, Iraq, Central Africa, and also more recently Ukraine. So for me, for children, I think it's they're the most affected in society, right? They're always kind of at the worst end of any political movement, whatever your opinion is about anything. So it's appalling that some of the conditions that these children have to live. So I know that sounds dark, but I did something to use my voice in a creative way to bring joy, I guess, but also to raise money for them. So the link's in the description. If you want to support the organization, they do, again, some incredible things. You can come up on stage when I had my next performance, play some maracas. I mean, you need to come to London and do that. You can also, you know, do some funny things. I can send you some really silly selfies every day for the week if you donate a certain amount. So all the links in the description, but if you can support, it means the world for that organization. So thank you for also checking that out. But you can also hear me sing.
That's a great idea.
That'll be lovely.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
no, thank you so much. And once again, please, if you are watching this back, do go check them out on socials. And again, wonderful to catch up with you, and we'll keep in touch. Hopefully, we'll see more releases soon.
Yeah, we'd love that.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
so
you
much for
so
having
much.
us.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.